Did you know that F1 cars aren't just speed demons, but also multi-million-dollar gems? You might be surprised to learn that some of these engineering marvels rival the price of a Monet painting, with one even crossing the staggering $14 million mark. From Ayrton Senna's record-breaking chariot to the machine that powered Michael Schumacher to his 6th World Championship, these aren't just cars, they're legends on 4 wheels. So what secret sauce makes these racers more expensive than a private island? Well, let's find out. Number 7. 1993 McLaren MP48A, $4.6 million. This is a true masterpiece, coming with chassis number MP48-6, which is one of 6 to be made. And by the way, Ayrton Senna drove this specific vehicle during his record-breaking 6th Monaco Grand Prix victory. This was during the 1993 Formula 1 season. It was set up for auction in 2018 by Bonhams, who described it as the most historically important Formula 1 McLaren ever presented at auction. When it was being set up for auction, it was also described as startlingly well-preserved and fully functional. This was one of the very few Formula 1 cars that had matching numbers on its chassis, engine, and gearbox, all of which were the actual items used by Senna during his final Monaco history. This was definitely going to be worth so much. With the way their engines are changed up, it is pretty hard to see one like this one. When Senna was practicing for the 1993 Monaco GP, he crashed and had the car repaired in time for the race. Ron Dennis, the founder of McLaren, paid an estimated $4.6 million for the car when it went up for auction in 2006. At the time, no other example of any MP4 race car was privately owned outside the British team. Number 6. 2010 McLaren MP4-25A, $6 million. This was the first ever race-winning Lewis Hamilton F1 car to be offered up for auction in 2021. It is also the most modern car on this list. But before it was sold, it went through a thorough reconstruction. Lewis Hamilton was the first to drive this car to victory in the 2010 Turkish Grand Prix. He also raced it against Mercedes driver Michael Schumacher at the year's Chinese Grand Prix, which was a pretty tight race. Before the car was auctioned off, RM Sotheby described it as the single greatest item of Lewis Hamilton memorabilia ever to be offered for sale. Apart from Lewis Hamilton, the car was also driven by fellow world champion Jenson during the 2010 season. This famous car, which has chassis number 25A-01, was the very first MP4-25A to be built by the McLaren Mercedes team. And in that year alone, the car made 9 appearances. For the longest time, McLaren kept the car in the condition it raced in. However, McLaren Racing Heritage later restored it in 2019, making it as good as new. This included a complete disassembly, followed by the parts being x-rayed, tested, and eventually replaced where needed. It was then tested on track before being disassembled and inspected again through 2020 and 2021. And in the end, it was offered for auction in fully operational condition. The auction was set for the weekend of the 2021 British Grand Prix, and unlike other auctions, this F1 car was demonstrated on track to more than 100,000 race fans. And in the end, someone took it home for an estimated $6 million. Number 5. 1998 Ferrari F300, $6.46 million. Not only is Ferrari known for having some of the best road cars and sports racers, but they are also known for having some of the most expensive F1 cars, and this specific one is just the first of many. The 1998 Ferrari F300 had a number of designers working on it, preparing it for the 1998 season. It was a pretty competitive and reliable car, but it was still aerodynamically inferior to the McLaren MP4 However, Michael Schumacher proved that the driver's skill takes him to the top because he drove it to 4 victories in the 1998 season alone. The car was powered by a 2,997cc DOHC V10 engine, giving it an estimated 800 horsepower. This engine was mated to a 7-speed button-shift transmission. After winning 4 races, which were the Grand Prix of Canada, France, Britain, and Italy, the car's previous owner bought it directly from Ferrari in 1999, and alongside its purchase was a small package of spare parts. It was then kept in the same condition as it was used during the races to preserve its worth. The car never made any public appearances for the next 23 years until it appeared for auction again in 2022. And during this auction, the car was sold for an incredible $6.46 million. It is quite hard to tell how much the parts cost, and there is no information on that, but we can be pretty sure they were expensive. Number 4. 2002 Ferrari F202, $6.73 million. This car took Schumacher's career to another level, giving him an immense victory. It was auctioned by RM Sotheby, and it was from the 2002 season. It was also the winning chassis of the San Marino Austrian and French Grand Prix, all of which helped the German driver win his 5th F1 World Championship. Unlike previous cars that went unused after entering public ownership, this Ferrari was auctioned again after being certified by Ferrari Classiche and race prepared for the company's Corse Clienti events. These are events where owners of such vehicles can take them out for a race with full support from the factory. However, before it was officially sold, the engine and transmission were rebuilt, which definitely made its price tag higher. Even though this exact chassis won 3 races, the model was even more successful. All the chassis that Ferrari entered for the 2002 F1 season had outstanding performances. They all won a total of 15 races, secured 11 pole positions, and clocked up 15 fastest laps across a 19-race campaign. Those stats make the Ferrari F2002 one of the most successful F1 cars to ever be made. Number 3. 2001 Ferrari F2001, $7.5 million. This is yet another F1 car driven by Schumacher and one of the most successful Ferrari F1 cars out there. It is also the 3rd most expensive Formula 1 car of all time. The Ferrari F2001 from the 2001 season sold in 2017 for about $7.5 million. This surpassed RM Sotheby's auction estimate of between $4 million and $5.5 million. This beast was powered by a screaming F10 engine that produced about 900 horsepower, spinning at about 19,000 RPM. The F2001 can be said to come from the golden era of Formula 1, and this specific car, which used chassis number 211, was used by Michael Schumacher to win the 2001 Monaco Grand Prix. He also used it to win the Hungarian Grand Prix in the same year, which gave the Germans his 4th Formula 1 World Championship. With this car, he also brought home the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari. This car has been described as a car of tremendous historic importance to the driver, the enthusiast, the Grand Prix circuit, and indeed the brand that is the black prancing horse of Maranello. 2. 2003 Ferrari F2003, $14.6 million. There is yet another Ferrari that has set a record, almost doubling in amount from the previous entry in the list. It has also been driven by Schumacher, selling for almost $15 million this time. This F2003 GA was campaigned by Ferrari in the 2003 Formula 1 season. It is also the car that Schumacher used to win his 6th and penultimate World Championship. This specific model, chassis 229, was the most successful of the 6 F2003 GAs produced for the 2003 season. And by the way, this is one of only 4 Schumacher-era Ferraris to win 5 races or more in a season. The 2003 Ferrari F2003 was overhauled at Ferrari headquarters in Maranello, Italy in 2022. And at the time it was being sold, it had only covered 148 miles between then and the auction later that year. Before the auction, Sotheby said that all the major components, including the gearbox, clutch, and hydraulic system, had covered only a small percentage of their current life cycle. Number 1. 1954 Mercedes W196R, $29.65 million. At the very top is not a Ferrari, a McLaren, or a Mercedes driven by Lewis Hamilton or Schumacher. Instead, the title of the most expensive F1 goes to the Mercedes-Benz W196R from 1954. Bonhams auctioned this single-seater at the 2013 Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it managed to have a price tag of about $29,650,000. Right now, it can be estimated to be worth $39 million. At the time of being auctioned, it was also the most expensive car ever sold at an auction, and it was double the previous record. It was powered by a 2.5-liter straight-8 engine. This was enough to take Fangio to the 2nd of his 5 World Championship titles. With a chassis number 00006 out of 54, Fangio also used it to win the 1954 German and Swiss Grand Prix races. Before it was auctioned, the car was given by Mercedes to the UK's National Motor Museum in Bolio in 1973. However, with permission from Mercedes, the car was then sold in 1987 to Sir Anthony Bamford, the chairman of the JCB Excavator Company and renowned car collector. Since then, it has been passed between several European collectors before finally setting the F1 auction record at Goodwood in 2013. Since the first time it went on the market, it has always been the most expensive F1 car, and that is a title we can expect it to hold for the next couple decades. So if you had $40 million in your pocket right now, which of these legendary F1 cars would you make a pit stop for? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.